Good morning, class 11 students. This is the third session on The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh. We have already discussed about the writer, so we will not be talking about the writer Khushwant Singh in this session. Let me just remind you a few things and the portion we covered in the last two videos. This is actually an portrait of a lady. It is a part of an autobiography by Khushwant Singh, and in this excerpt he beautifully talks about his relationship with his grandmother. And in fact, this whole biography, or this particular excerpt is actually a loving tribute from Khushwant Singh to his grandmother. We have only two characters. We don't have so many characters in the chapter. We have grandmother, Khushwant Singh's grandmother. She's a very religious lady. She's calm, peaceful. She's very old, aged. She has wrinkles. She wears white sari. She recites prayer. She reads the beads of rosary. And we have Khushwant Singh, who happens to be the author and the narrator of the chapter, and he's a very versatile personality, because he was a diplomat, he was a writer, and a lot more. And we actually appreciate his remarkable contribution to Indian English literature. And now let's talk about the portion we covered, we studied in the last two videos. So in the beginning of the chapter, the author recalled his grandmother as a very old lady, because he, for the 20 years he has seen his grandmother, and he has always found her old and wrinkled. So it is very difficult for him to believe that that she had once been a very pretty and beautiful lady, or she had a husband, right? And when we talk about Khushwant Singh's grandfather, he says that there is a portrait of his grandmother which is hanging above the mantelpiece in the drawing room, on the wall of the drawing room. And what he is wearing a big turban, because he's Punjabi, and he is wearing very loose fitting clothes. Probably he's wearing kurta pajama, and he looked at least 100 years old. And one could only say that this fellow can only have grandchildren, right? And then he talks more about his grandmother, that she is it's hard, the thought of his grandmother being young, beautiful, and pretty was almost revolting to him, because he could not believe, he could not accept it. She was she was slightly bent in her posture. She was kind of she was stout, and she was kind of fat, and she has a loose her facial, actually there is no glow. You could actually see the crisscross of wrinkles all over her face, and she has got gray hairs, right? And he tells us that you could actually see my grandmother hobbling around the house, wearing white sari with one hand, which is balancing her body, and on the other hand she which is busy counting the beads of her rosary. Okay, so that's what he talked about. And then he talked about his relationship with his grandmother in the village, because in the village he was living with his grandmother, because his parents, they moved to city, and they left Khushwant Singh with his grandmother. So the grandmother was the one who was taking care of him. In fact, he took good care of Khushwant Singh. He used to wake him up, would give him bath. She would sing the prayers in a sing-song manner, so that author Khushwant Singh could learn them, because he was in the village. And in the school, in the village, the village school, they focus more on holy texts, scriptures and all. So that's why she used to sing those prayers in a sing-song manner, so that uh, Khushwant Singh can learn them while having a bath. Understand? So what happened? And she would fear. She would serve him stale chapatis with butter and sugar, and she also packed a few chapatis so that she could feed the street dogs on the way that they find on the way to school. And the best thing is, they go to the same place, mother, because the school happens outside the temple. So the children study outside the temple. They repeat their alphabet, their prayers, their scriptures in chorus, and inside the temple, the grandmother, she sits inside, she prays, and she reads and recites her prayer. So it was fun, it was very wonderful. They both were together. The bond, you could actually see that there is a very, good friendship between Arthur and his grandmother. And on the way back to home, they would feed the street dogs again. They would watch them howling for chapatis, groveling for chapatis, fighting for chapatis. And then what happened? The turning point came when they received a letter from Khushwant's parent, and they were asking them to come to city. So they had to move to city, and when they moved to city, what happened? The author started going to, he started going to an English school in a motor bus, and the grandmother could not accompany the child to the school, and there were no dogs in the streets. So grandmother, she took to feeding the sparrows. And as the year passed by, they saw less of each other. Although you could see, the distance, the gap between them is growing each and every day, right? And on the top of it, the grandmother, she could not help the child in his studies. Why? Because if we talk about village, in the village he was studying scriptures, and grandmother, he was very good at holy texts, so she was able to help him. But in the city, the child is learning the law of gravity, Archimedes principle, and a lot more about Western science and English. So it means grandmother was only good at those scriptures, right? So obviously she cannot teach him English and Western science. It was very heartbreaking for her. I believe it was very disappointing her that she could no longer assist him, right? And then what happened? After a few days, she got to hear, it came to her notice that her grandchild, he was learning music lesson, and this was very heartbreaking and disappointing for her, because she did not like the fact that her grandchild was being taught music, because according to her, music has indecent connection. It is only meant for indecent people, right? So she felt very bad, and she did not talk to him after that. And then she accepted her seclusion. She started, she picked these habits, spinning of wheels and feeding sparrows. And then what happened? The months passed by, the year passed by, and Khushwant Singh became an adult. Now he has started going to a university, so he's an adult, so he was given a room of his own. Now I think this is the time when grandmother accepted her loneliness, and she rarely spoke anyone all day long. So this is the second phase going on, right? We came across the first phase when they were in the village. This is the second phase when they talk less. And now what happened? That's what that's what she does now. She feeds sparrow, she spins the wheel, and a couple of months, or the author decided to go abroad for higher studies. I think this is the third phase now. The author decided to go abroad for higher studies for 5 years, and this is the portion that we cover in the third video. That is our today's session, right? So let me highlight the portion and then I will translate. Hold on. So here we are. Let me just highlight it for you. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. So he has he has completed university, so he wants to go to abroad for higher studies. And he was aware, because all this time they were not talking to each other, but they were at least they were living under the same roof. But now the author is moving to abroad. He is going far, far away from his grandmother. So I would be away for 5 years, and at her age one could never tell. So he is supposed to leave his house for 5 years for further studies, right? And grandmother is very she is very aged, and it's very unpredictable whether she has 5 years or not, right? Because somebody who has aged so much, it is very unpredictable, right? So but my grandmother could she was not even sentimental, and you could not see any emotion, when she got to know that her grandchild was leaving. But actually this doesn't mean that she doesn't love him. She loves him, but she is not sharing it, because she has accepted her resignation, right? Her seculation, her isolation. So she came to leave me at the railway station, but did not talk to or show any emotion. So she came, she accompanied her grandchild to the station so that she could see him off, but she did not speak a word. She did not say a word. Her lips moved in a prayer, and that time too she was praying. She was reading the beads of rosary, right? And silently she kissed me forehead, and when I left I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So when he left, she did not say a word. She only kissed him on his forehead, and I think this was the last, the physical contact between author and his grandmother, and he cherished it after, in coming years. So but that was not. After 5 years I came back and was meant. So the chapter jumped. After 5 years, what happened? He returned, and the grandmother, she did not look a day older. She was there to meet her grandchild. And that time too, when he returned, she did not say a word, while she clasped me in her arms. So she hugged him, and that time too he could hear that his grandmother, she was reciting the prayers. So it was kind of her, she was very, this shows that she's a very religious lady. That is why she's always reciting, the morning prayers, the scriptures. I think, this is very common in Indian society, and I believe everywhere, no matter what the country is, when the people, when they're very aged, and when they're very old, so they kind of started living this, this very ordinary life, and they started praying God. They become more religious. So she embraced him, and even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer, and with rebukes, we have already, it is silly remarks, right? So when he so the grandmother, what she was doing after 5 years, she was feeding sparrows, and she was criticizing them and all that stuff. So in the evening a change came over. She did not pray. So one day, author, he came across a change in his grandmother. The grandmother, she did not pray. Instead, she collected the women of the neighborhood. She collected all the women in her neighborhood. They got an old drum, and they started singing. They started beating the drum. It is more like a kirtan we have. You must have seen in your neighborhood and all these kirtan mandali. These women, they gather together in a temple or in a house, and then they play drum and all that stuff. So that's what she is doing. For several hours she thumbed the sagging, skins of the dilapidated drum. So that is, what is the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum? Sagging means to bend. So it points to the shabby and the destructed condition of the drum that grandmother is beating, right? She's actually celebrating the homecoming of Khushwant Singh, by collecting the women in her neighborhood, right? And what happened? We had to pursue her to stop avoid overstraining, because she is so old, so she cannot stress, she cannot overstrain. So the family, they tried to stop her, but she did not listen. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. So she was not praying, she was just beating the drum, right, with the other women. The next morning she was taken ill, and the next day she fell sick. It was a mild fever, and the doctor told us that it would go. So according to doctor, it was mild fever, and it said that she would recover soon. But my grandmother thought differently. But according to her grandmother, she was aware that she is it was that her end was near. So she told us that her end was near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray. So just before her death, she stopped praying, right? She was not going to waste any more time talking to us, and she did not talk to the family members. Maybe she wanted, this time alone, because she kind of aware that she was close to death, she was on the verge. So she protested, but she ignored our protest. So they protested, the family protested, but she ignored their protest, and she lay peacefully in bed praying and telling her beads. And what happened, finally, let's find out what happened. Her lips stopped moving, and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. Lifeless fingers, it is, it's a, you can say it's a metaphor, which represents, so the woman, she's dead now, she has expired, because the rosary fell off her hand and she stopped praying. So we lifted her off the bed as it is customary. So what they do, they place the body on the floor, because I think it is a customary, it is it happens in our in our tradition that when somebody is died, he is placed on the floor, not on the bed. So they laid her on the ground, and they covered with a red shroud. The shroud is a piece of cloth, which a cloth we use to cover a dead body. So after a few hours of mourning is grief, we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. Funeral means it is all the ceremonies that is taken place after that are taken place after the death. So in the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. Cremated means when when the last rites are performed of a dead body. So they took a stretcher, and crude means made in a simple manner, right? So the sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. So this line actually shows that what does it show? It kind of show something very that that it was kind of a peaceful death. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard and over veranda in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff wrapped in the red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat across, scattered on the floor. So when they entered, what happened? They saw that when they came to take away grandmother's body, they met a very strange sight. The sight was the first, the room was lit. I believe that the room was lit. So this kind of shows something something godly or something very extraordinary, right? So they also observed that a lot of sparrows had surrounded the grandmother's body, right? And but the sparrows, they were silent. We stopped half in the all over veranda in her room, right up to where she lay dead and still wrapped in the red. Sparrows sat scattered on the floor, right around. They were there. There was no chirrupings. They were not making any sound, and it seemed that even the birds were aware that the grandmother had already passed. So we felt sorry for the birds. My mother fetched some bread for them. Fetched means to get, right? So the mother thought maybe the bird wanted a piece of little crumbs, bread crumbs, and she brought them, and she broke into little crumbs. She tried to feed them, but what happened? The way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread, and the sparrows, they did not take any notice of the bread. So it clearly is shown here that the connection that she has with sparrows is very remarkable and extraordinary, that even the bird is paying their tribute to the grandmother, and they're actually grieving, they're mourning for her. That shows, that is actually the outcome of the compassion that she had for birds and animals, right? So when we carried my grandmother's corpse, is dead body off, they flew quietly, and when the body was taken away, the birds, they flew away quietly, they did not even make any sound. And next morning the sweeper swept the bird crumbs into the dustbin, and even the next morning nobody came to eat those breadcrumbs. The sweeper had to remove them from the floor. So I think that's how the story ends, and that's how he pays a loving tribute to his grandmother, because we always have these memories in our mind, the lovely times we spend with our loved ones, right? It cannot be erased or washed away. So that's how he's paying tribute to his grandmother. He still remembers her, and that's how she is eternal, her memory is eternal, right? So that's all for today. So in the last session of the chapter, we will be discussing the question answer. That's all, because we will not be discussing the question answer in today's session, because we always make a special session for question answers and a complete summary, right? So this will be done in the next video. So see you soon in the next class, everyone. Have a nice day.